what issue as a Boston resident do you feel is most important facing the city?
I think gun violence in South Boston is probably what I think about most.
Safety is a priority here.
Safety.
Crime. You know, we gotta keep a check on crime.
Well, you just heard from some of the voters, and crime and public safety, #1 issue for at least those folks. Overall, the city's crime rate has been a bit lower under Mayor Walsh's watch. He's increased the number of non-white leaders in the police department. So tell us what he is doing wrong.
Well, who cares about the crime rate overall when shootings are up and when the murders are up 17.5% as of today? Who cares when I was at the site where Gerard Brown, the young person from Brighton High, who was killed, and I actually knew him. I met him last year.
16 years old.
16-year-old football player, and I met him when he was playing football.
So what's your solution?
Well, and so my solution is, one, we need to move funds to engaging our young people. We should have 5,000 additional youth summer jobs, 1,000 year-round jobs. So we are engaging our young people. In addition, as I noted, we have to deal with this 4% rate of non-fatal shootings in the city of Boston. As I noted earlier, relative to the detective side, we would add a night shift for our detectives. But also, I would listen to the neighborhoods and communities. The tenants from that area sent the mayor a letter in September and have not heard back. And they said they wanted cameras, and they need cameras in that area. They want a youth officer in that area. And so we need to be listening and partnering with neighborhoods and communities. We need a more diverse police department. And so he speaks to the leadership of the police department. But when it comes to the Boston Police Department, Mayor Walsh is not fielding a representative police department relative to the demographics of the city of Boston.
But now he says Mayor Walsh brags about bringing in more people of color in his city government. 40% of his hires, half of his cabinet. Isn't he moving in the right direction?
Well, he's not moving in the right direction. And he's not moving in the right direction when it comes to transparency. We used to get quarterly numbers from Mayor Menino every single year that I was there. Mayor Walsh has stopped the reporting on a quarterly basis and actually having transparency. My administration is going to be based on transparency, accountability, and democracy. The people have to understand what's going on. And I also believe that the mayorship is actually too strong and that we should take away some of the power of the mayorship and give it back to the people. But back to this real issue, what's happening in I will walk in with a comprehensive violence prevention plan day one. Mayor Walsh has no comprehensive violence prevention plan. And in fact, yesterday I was standing next to him and right up the street, there was a shooting at Jackson Square, a block from where we were standing, announcing a new recreational center. That speaks to the state of emergency that we have in the city of Boston relative to shootings that are going on right now. 11 shootings this past weekend, and one of them was fatal. No arrests.
Statistically, 25% more than in 2016.
Yes, and so what we're dealing with, why do we have a mayor? People who don't even acknowledge the reality, you have a mayor who's saying that crime is down, but there's a 25% increase in shootings. That is misleading, and it actually does not connect with the reality that people are feeling in the city of Boston. We must step our game up in this space.
Very quickly, where would you get the extra money to put more money into the police budget, and how much more money are you willing to give the police department?
Understand, what I'm talking about is actually lowering the police budget, because you cannot have a department
By how much?
Continue to spend $60 million. What I'm saying is simply this. We need to, there's a line item in one of our departments that's going over between 15 and 20% a year. We have to cut that in half, and we need to reallocate those funds in order to make sure that we're taking care of the other departments. This is critical that we do this, and it has to be done with urgency, and we need a mayor that acknowledges that shootings and murders are up, and I will do that from day one.
Wait, as difficult as this transition may sound, we want to take you to the OTR pop quiz right now. Here's question one.
Bring it on.
Bring it. You even rubbing your hands. That's impressive. What national figure preached from the Boston Common? The vision of the new Boston must extend into Roxbury. Boston must be a testing ground for the ideals of freedom. Who said that?
Former President Barack Obama.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in 1965. Dr. King called Boston his second home after getting a doctorate from BU. Question 2. The majority of crime in Boston falls mainly in 2 of the city's neighborhoods, Roxbury and Dorchester. What is the percentage of that crime? And we have some options on the screen. Is it 55%? Is it 75%? Or is it 80%?
A.
It's actually C, 80%. Wow. And question 3, the salary for the mayor of Boston is $175,000 a year, the highest pay of any mayor in the state. Can you name the cities with the highest paid mayors in the United States? The highest paid mayors in the United States, the cities in this country with the highest paid mayors.
I would say New York and LA.
Well, one of them is LA, San Francisco and LA. Okay. The mayor of San Francisco earns just under $290,000 a year.
So do I get half a point?
Yes.
You get half a point.
Okay.
You get half a point. The mayor of LA about $240,000. We'll be right back with the candidate for mayor, Tito Jackson. The question, improving Boston schools, his plan when this special edition of OTR continues.